and TV show host. And I am super excited about this inaugural show because it is coming off the heels of my Unleash Your Inner Goddess virtual summit. And I am super, super excited because I happen to have one of those amazing women with me today as my first guest. So let's take a look at who she is. Yay! So there she is. I am so excited to introduce to you Alicia Corey. Yay! There you are.
Hi, Kimberly. Me too. I'm so excited that you invited me for your very first show.
And it's live, raw, and uncut, and I'm learning all the techie stuff still. So this will be interesting. So
I know where you are.
Let me start by saying your message is profound, and your message is gaining massive, massive momentum. So just share with us first a little bit about what you do.
I am, there's some feedback now. I am a corporate consultant, but also an author and a speaker. And what I do is I really work with people in empowering them to step into what's possible for themselves and to go boldly into their future. And so my message of audacious confidence is really about looking at your life and looking at yourself. And if you're really living the life that you desire to live, if you're holding back or if you're afraid to step out, and your confidence isn't where you'd like it to be, it's all about being bold, being confident, and just, living your journey. Because a lot of times we think confidence is something we're born with, but confidence is developed, and anyone can develop their confidence. So don't just sit there and say, well, I'm shy, or I don't have confidence. If you want to do something, that's why my message, I think, resonates. Because if you want to do something, you have the opportunity to step into that if you really desire to do it.
Right. Absolutely. I like how you said boldly.
Yes, because sometimes you need a little bit of boldness to overcome the fear that you're experiencing, to step out and do something different.
Yeah, I was exactly going to say that. It's being bold, even though you might have fear going forward.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. So you have been doing so many things. We just watched you walk on all those stages. Was that during when you were developing your business? How did that come about? Because I know your background story, and we'll get to that in a sec, but you didn't just decide, here I am.
No. No. So being a stay-at-home mom for several years, at the time I had two children, two girls, and I was raising a family. But I always had this desire to do more and to have my own business and to really grow my business. And it wasn't until my girls were a little bit able to take care of themselves. They didn't need mommy so much. When both of them started school, in school when my youngest at the time started pre-K, then I started looking for business opportunities for myself. And I had studied fashion in college. And then I was always into the beauty industry since as a child. And so I studied to get my makeup and hair certification so I can start my business doing hair and makeup for weddings. And so that's how I started. I just started in the beauty industry doing hair and makeup on site for weddings. I had started developing some relationships with other artists and just growing it that way. And never thought of ever speaking really. Like I never thought of being on stage or speaking to audiences. I always dreamt about it, which is very different than thinking you can do it. Like I had dreams of being on stage, influencing masses of people. But then in my head, I always said, but you'll never do that. I mean, you don't have anything of value to say. You don't have anything to share. You don't, all the other things that I told myself that convinced myself that I didn't belong on those stages.
That's incredible. And here you are.
Yeah. And that's why
you have your own TV show even.
I have my own shows. So I create my own stage.
And sometimes that's what it takes because you do have a powerful, powerful message. So let's kind of start there. What's your story is just, it gave me chills when we first spoke during the Goddess Summit. So you didn't always have confidence. So let's go there.
Whoa. And it's remarkable to me that you say that I have such a powerful story because I never believed in it. I never believed that my story was anything big. I thought it was just ordinary. And that's what I want everyone who's watching and listening to understand, that we all have a story. We all have an origin story that is powerful. And it's just in how we choose to share that. But how we choose to even acknowledge it first and then share it. We have to acknowledge the power in our own story.
Good point. Yeah.
So I never thought I had a powerful story. I mean, I was a young girl, 4.5 years old. It's so funny because I was a very bold little child, very audacious. But then my mom shaved my hair because she couldn't deal with my hair. My hair was very unruly, much like myself. And so I was like, I got this nickname, bald head. Like I had this short hair, and it made me self-conscious as a little girl that everybody now thought I was a little boy, even though I behaved like a little boy. I was a little tomboy, but I was constantly telling people, but I'm a girl. Anyway, at 4.5, we moved to Australia from Trinidad, where I was born. And so growing up now in a completely different environment, it really challenged me as a child because the neighborhood we moved into, predominantly white. When I went to school, it was a predominantly white school. And so kids would ask me questions about the texture of my hair and the color of my skin and the accent and whether or not we lived in houses, if this is a new experience for me to live in a house. Don't you live in like huts? Don't you sit on trees? So as a 5-year-old child being asked those kinds of questions, I didn't have the answers. I didn't know how to answer these these really, it just seemed like really strange questions. You know, why is your nose this broad? Why are your lips this big? You know, I mean, it was nonstop. And it's out of curiosity. It was out of curiosity. They'd never seen someone, you know, as dark complected as I was. And so I grew up thinking that I wasn't beautiful and I didn't have any worth or any value because I didn't look like everybody else. And I wanted to blend in with everybody else. I didn't want to stand out when I walked into a room and have everybody stare at me. I didn't, it really made me shrink into myself. And I really didn't even recognize that it was happening. I didn't realize that it was happening. And part of the story that I was telling you is that I developed this concept of beauty that didn't fit me. So I never grew up thinking I was beautiful. I had some slight learning disabilities like dyslexia and dyscalculia. So I would transpose numbers. So math was really, really hard for me. So I grew up thinking I wasn't pretty, I wasn't smart. And so what could I really do with my life? And it was only in my 40s did I start doing the work to uncover all those things and realize that I needed, first of all, to create a concept of beauty that fit me, that I can look in the mirror and look at my features and no longer think that they were ugly, but actually that they were beautiful. And I find that a lot of women experience that. Being in the beauty industry, I would always have someone ask me to fix something that they didn't like. Sharon, you know that. That someone would always ask me, "Can you fix this? I don't like, you know, I don't like my cheeks. I don't like. Can you contour my nose to look a little thinner? Can you make my lips look bigger? Can you, you know?" They would always have these requests to transform what they didn't like about themselves instead of creating the idea of, oh, wow, my dimples are what make me special, or I have the most beautiful eyes. Can you highlight my eyes? You know, it's always coming from the negative instead of what can you amplify? Because this, you know, I have the most amazing lips. I don't care what you do, but just make sure my lips shine, you know? So they don't come to you and say things like that.
I know. It's crazy.
They always say, hide this, make me look like Angelina Jolie, make me look like this, you know? So I understood what that felt like, but didn't even recognize that I was experiencing that myself. And having the opportunity to really do the hard work in uncovering all those things that shut me down, that even though I dreamt of being on stage, I never thought it was possible for me. So that's why I say I empower people to step into what's possible, because I didn't think it was possible. And just understanding that you can be and do and have anything that you can dream was such a stretch for me. And it's a stretch for a lot of people. So that's why my message of audacious confidence gets traction, because it's not about dreaming the impossible dream and then knowing that it'll never happen for you. It's about shifting that mindset to know that it is possible for you. It'll just take a little bit of work. And if you're willing to do the work, you can have it.
Yeah, it's always mindset, constant, everyday mindset.
Yes.
It really is. Confidence, transformation, beliefs, everything. It wraps up into your mindset and your choices about it.
Yeah, I know I'm an author, but I love to write. And again, it was the mindset of, well, you're not good enough to write because in school, you weren't an A student. You know, you were a CD student. So what makes you think you can be an author? So it's all those negative limiting beliefs that hold you back. And a lot of it is stemmed in childhood that you're not even aware of.
Yeah. Well, yours started very deep and very young. And I know I said to you last time that didn't you think to look at your mom for that inspiration of beauty and look at her as a, you know, an image of beauty for you. And you had mentioned before that you never really thought about that, which I find still very interesting.
I never, it was very pretty as a child to look at my mom as an example of beauty. And you know what's even, when you asked me that question, I started thinking about what images I really had of Black women that I could see as beautiful. So back then too, Miss Trinidad and Tobago won Miss Universe. And I remember being in Australia and seeing her on TV and saying, oh my gosh, she is so beautiful. But again, couldn't relate it to me in any way possible. So when I moved back from Australia back to Trinidad in my teen years, people would often compare me to her, would say, oh, you look like Penny, Miss Universe. And I'd always be, me? Are you kidding? She's gorgeous. I could not even hold a candle to her, you know? And so I just completely made myself invisible to me. I couldn't see it in myself at all.
Wow.
It's mind-boggling, I know. But
it really is.
I would avoid cameras. I would avoid pictures. I don't have pictures of myself from childhood, like probably from when I was 9 years old was probably the last picture I have of myself until my wedding. I have very few, probably 5 or 6 pictures that you can find of me as a teenager. Because I hid from cameras. I would always be in the back. As soon as I saw a camera, I would run.
Wow.
Or my face would be down or something like that.
Girl hiding.
Always hiding behind someone. You see part of my face. You know, I literally used to run from the camera.
You know, I want to point out, because I think it's so important to realize, to look at you, you have audacious confidence. You are absolutely stunning. And what I want people to realize is that we are all fighting this stuff inside. Even how we look on the outside, we may come across this beautiful, audaciously confident, gorgeous woman as you are, and still fight those battles, because I'll tell you what, that stuff comes up still.
Broken and broken in a way that you don't even realize it, but you have to look at your behaviors. You have to look at what is manifesting for you. How are you acting it out? And when you start looking at the patterns of how you're acting out, the words that you're saying to yourself and about yourself, start listening to yourself. Don't just say something blindly. Like when someone would say, you belong on a stage. And I would say immediately, without even letting that land, immediately, I was like, no. Someone would say, oh, you're so pretty. Immediately, like I didn't even let it touch me. I would immediately reject it. I'd really, no, please, oh no. You know, listen to yourself. Listen to what people are saying about you, and then what your response to people are. Because when you start recognizing the responses, then you can start questioning those responses. And that's when you start to unpeel, you know, those things and start revealing layers that you're living through.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this audacious confidence. How did you come up with this name for your business? I love it.
Oh my goodness. I was taking a branding course on what I thought was branding my makeup business, because my makeup business was called AC Beauty. And so I was taking this personal branding, and what had happened was, what ended up happening was she was branding me and not really my business. So she was branding me as the expert in the beauty industry, and she was helping me kind of step out from behind the camera, because my whole like business was, oh yeah, I belong behind the camera. I belong behind the scenes. I'll do all the work behind the scenes. I'll do everything that needs to be done. I don't even need any kind of acknowledgement. I'll be the grunt worker behind the scenes. I'll do everything that needs to run in front of the camera, but I'll be behind the camera. So for her to now push me to the forefront of my business instead of being behind the scenes of my business was so uncomfortable for me. It was like I had to do so many mind shifts just to be able to, on Facebook, post something about me being, in the makeup business, and post my work and post stuff about me, pictures of me doing makeup. And so through that process, I had to develop my confidence. And after a couple of years of doing that, developing my confidence, I wanted to help other people develop their confidence too. I'm still in the beauty and style arena. And because my initials are AC, confidence started with a C. So I was trying to search for a word that would connect to confidence. And I remembered myself as a little child being that bold and really outspoken little child before my head was shaved and I moved to Australia. And so, not that my head had to be shaved to move to Australia, just in case you're joining us late and you're wondering if that's like I had lice or something. No, it was just, that was just coincidental. I was looking for a word that meant kind of bold and stepping out of yourself and being really, really showing up. And the first time I looked at the word audacious, I rejected that word again, being negative, thinking of it in a negative connotation, that people who are audacious, you think of them as arrogant and self-centered, and not someone who is really, not someone that I wanted to be identified as. But then I started really digging further into the word audacious, and I saw that it really meant bold and courageous and all the positive things that audacious meant. And so I linked it to the word confidence, because I believe you need a little boldness with your confidence. Confidence sometimes alone is not enough. Right. Confidence can take you so far, but it's the boldness in stepping out and doing something outside of yourself that we need sometimes to take us to the next level.
Right. And I remember when we spoke about it before, you said that you were having, like, some people would love it and some people were like, no, run from it. Right.
There was a big reaction when I posted it, because some people saw it in the negative way. Some people saw only the negative and said, that's not you. I don't see you as audacious at all. And I started doubting myself initially. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to run with it. I'm going to keep going with it. And now, recently, I think back in March, I did a branding exercise, and everybody in the course didn't know me. So they didn't know me as the audacious confidence girl. So when I stood up, and well, it was virtual. So when I virtually had the platform and I said audacious confidence, some of them were like, well, maybe you shouldn't use the word audacious because some people might not react positively to that. And they were trying again to discourage me after I've been using the thing for 4 years now. And I said, well, audacious confidence goes with my brand. My logo, as you had just put up, is AC, which is my initials, but it also works for audacious confidence. And so I said, putting up bold confidence, to me now, it doesn't even fit. Like audacious confidence just fits.
Yeah.
And so, I told them, thank you for your input. And they said, ask people. So I said, all right, I'll ask my tribe. And I put it out there, and everybody, I would say 90% of people were like, yeah, that fits you perfectly. And just a handful of people were still saw the word as a negative thing. But I don't speak to everybody. My message isn't for everybody, but for who it's for, they
resonate with it.
Hold on to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love it because it's like you're saying, unapologetic. You have confidence and you're no longer apologizing for who you are. And that is so powerful.
Exactly. And that's where we have to get to in our lives, where we're no longer looking for the approval of everyone else to really step out and do what we want to do. There will always be people who will think negatively. There will always be people who would say something against what you're doing. Your job is to be the best you that you can be, not to please them, but to fulfill your purpose on this earth. And if you allow other people to discourage you from fulfilling that purpose, then you are the only one to blame for that. So you have to be audacious.
Yeah.
To be able to tell people, no, listen, I'm not going to do that just to please you, or I'm not going to be that just to please you, because you have to sleep with yourself at night.
It's stepping into your power. It's stepping into who you are and really empowering yourself to do and be all that you want to be.
Exactly. Find this description that I had written. Because when I first came out with audacious confidence, with that term, I used it I started using it in a speech, and my coach had always told me that when you come up with your own terminology, you have to have like a Wikipedia for it. You have to have your own description of it. And I always, I created the definition of what audacious confidence is, because that was my thing. And I used to say it's the unshakable belief in yourself that's so bold and so daring that you live your life without limits or restrictions. And I realized that doesn't necessarily resonate with people. Like, living a life without limits or restrictions sort of feels, I guess, irresponsible. Or, so the description didn't quite land. So I did rewrite it. I'm still learning my own definition because I changed it.
And you're evolving, and every time you evolve, you're transforming, and there's this transformational process that as you elevate, so will your definitions, and so does everything else around you and your brand. So it makes perfect sense.
So I do say that audacious confidence is the unshakable belief in yourself that's so brave, so bold, that you dare to step into what's possible for you despite feelings or fears, to go boldly in the direction of your dreams and live the life you imagined. So it's now more about your personal responsibility for living the life that you desire to live, or that you imagined, to dream what's possible for yourself, and then have the audacious confidence enough to step into that.
I love it. That's a great definition too. It was perfect.
And it may evolve.
Oh, it will likely, but right now it's perfect.
Right now it's perfect for what I need to do.
Absolutely. I love it. That's good. So you've taken this message and you're walking on stages and you're sharing this about your confidence, which I just absolutely love. And you've written, I don't even know how many books. How many books have you written?
So I've personally written 2 books, but I've been co-authored in 4 others, and I think 5 with yours, 5 other books.
Yes, I'm so grateful. You are one of my co-authors in our book. Yes, but you've also written yours.
Yes, I have. Here, let me see. So I have, this was the first book that I dared to write. It was, someone said, oh yeah, you can write your own book. And I was so nervous to actually launch it and tell people that I'm an author, tell people that I wrote this book. And it's called Your Signature Style: Unlocking the Confidence, Style, and Influence of the Savvy CEO. So I have this one. And then after, I think a year or so after I wrote this one, I wrote this, which I recently changed the title of because I had a conflict with the previous title. So this was re-released again this year, and it's called Age with Audacious Confidence. 21 plus tips to look and feel younger, because I was always asked, what do you do? Because you don't look your age. I turned 51 this past weekend. So this is tips for anti-aging, self-care, how to really take care of yourself. It's stuff that I've done. And then in the back, I have several other women that I think are just phenomenal that loaned me their tips for staying young. So
that's awesome.
That's that one. And then I have a couple others that I co-authored. This one is Keep Smiling. And it's all about really encouraging messages inside about how to lift your spirits and keep smiling. This one is on leadership. And this is from when I spoke at West Point Academy a few years ago. And then there's one on tech magic, and then your book, and there might be a couple others that I'm forgetting, but but I'm so honored to have the opportunity to write and to share my message and to share, because my message isn't just for me. It's not about me. It's really about a common experience that we go through, that I've come out on one side of it one way, but it's about sharing that message for someone else who is still going through it, that there is another side, that you can come out of it and you don't have to live your life. Like, it took me 40 something years of this journey to start peeling those layers back. And if I can influence someone, like we said on our last interview, at 16, 17, 5 years old, 10 years old, if that message could resonate with a young Black girl that is feeling like she's not pretty, feeling like the texture of her hair is ugly, or, feeling because her nose is wide or her lips are thick, that's not beautiful, to start developing her own concept of herself as beautiful. What is a concept of beauty? It's just a thought. It's just a thought. If you cannot think that you're beautiful, then how can anyone else, how can you really see yourself in this world as beautiful, or that you can contribute anything to this world? So to start creating those concepts for themselves, that has nothing to do with the media, that has nothing to do with what anybody else says about you. Because if you can value you, then it doesn't matter what anybody else says about you.
Right. Yeah. And your message will reach far and wide, because confidence lands in everybody's lap, or lack of, rather, in everybody's lap. Doesn't matter what you look like, because it's those negative beliefs start from such a young age, whether it's an experience or somebody told you something, or both. It's about realizing that became a belief, because a belief is just an idea that's been reinforced. And so if you peel those layers back, and you're always going to have more layers to peel, just because you conquered it here doesn't mean it's not going to happen 5 years from now. You're like,
Exactly. And I tell the example of even going to this pageant last year, like, because confidence hits us in different places in different times of our life. It's not a one and done. It's not, oh yeah, I built my confidence, I'm good, I'm cool. It is a constant renewal, because you can start something brand new, and because it's new, you don't have confidence in it yet, because you haven't proven it yet. Yes, Genevieve, you do you.
I love it.
When I made the decision, like even making the decision to do the pageant was another opportunity to learn about myself and to grow. And I talk about I have 7 steps to audacious confidence. And I had to go through those 7 steps myself again, to make the decision to go do the pageant, because I had to understand what my resistances were. Why was I resisting doing it? Because every time Marlena asked me to do it, I said no. And she had been asking me for a year and a half to be a part of the, almost 2 years. This was the third year that I've known about it. And I continued to say no. And it wasn't until I really stopped to ask myself why I was saying no. Why are you saying no to it? And the truth was, because you have to get real and truthful with yourself. You can't keep, lying to yourself and expect to get the answers that you're looking for.
Mhm.
So I had to be truthful with myself. And the truth was, I was afraid of being judged. And not like people were going to judge me doing it. Yeah, that was part of it. But people will say, why are you going to a pageant? What do you need a pageant for? There was that judgment, but there was also the actual judgment of standing in front of judges.
It's just so crazy. And then there's the other part of you, being judged on you.
Yeah.
How that feels.
For them to tell me whether or not I was worthy of the crown.
Right?
I'm like, what would happen? How would I feel if they deemed me unworthy? So it was all those layers of judgment that I had to get real with and say, you know what? If I am me, and if I show up in my authenticity as who I am, and in the love that I have for others, it really doesn't matter what anyone else thinks or judges me as. If I can show up powerfully as myself, then I've already won, regardless of if I have the crown or not. I have already won because I have conquered something that I was afraid of. I've conquered a fear that I had. And so once I made the decision to do it, I was all in. I'm like, okay, I'm going to say yes when everything inside of me is saying no. I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to keep pushing forward because I've made this decision. And so, yeah, one of the steps is to understand what you're resisting. The other one is to say yes to things that you normally say no to, and then back it up with movement. You have to keep going. And so, and truly, I went through all of 7 of the steps, to be honest. And so just to make the decision to do the pageant. So when I say the 7 steps to audacious confidence, it's not something that I theorized and just said, oh, this sounds nice. This sounds,
This should work.
It's stuff that I work through, that I walk through every time I come up against something that I'm afraid of, or that I'm resisting. And that's all fear is. It's just a resistance. So anytime I come up against resistance, I start to question the resistance. Is it a real thing, or is it just imagined? Right. Am I resisting something that's actually going to hurt me? Or am I just resisting something that in my mind, I think it's going to hurt me?
Right.
And
you, just so everybody knows, you did this pageant last year.
Last year. Yeah.
Like, I want people to realize that.
At 50, I went and did a pageant at 50, and and I was so thankful, and I've been so thankful to do it. And I'll tell you, it tickled me so much when I made this decision to do it, because my alter ego, and I know that alter ego is rooted in childhood, but my alter ego for 5 years before that I had developed, because that was another one of those steps in the 7 steps, is to create an alter ego for yourself. But the alter ego I developed was the beauty queen. And so when I told Marlena, I said, well, actually, my alter ego is the beauty queen. So, if I come here and I win the crown, I will be impossible, because I will no longer be an alter ego of myself. I will actually be the queen. And
so you won.
Yeah, I won. And so I am now, it's no longer an alter ego. It's no longer a fictional thing. It's an actual reality for me. And it just tickled me so much that, again, stepping into what's possible for your life, that's why I changed the definition, because it's stepping into what's possible. I didn't think it was possible at 7 years old, or 7 years old, seeing Penny Commission from Trinidad winning Miss Universe, that it was possible for me to ever wear a crown. You know, I never thought that that was even a possibility. So, you know,
I want to talk about this alter ego for a moment.
Sure.
I find that really fascinating. So one of the steps you have people do is tell them to create an alter ego.
Yes.
That's really fascinating, because your fear person and scared person can stay here, yes, and then this bold, audacious, confident alter ego, go let them do the media, do all this other stuff.
Let them slay the dragon for you. Mm-hmm.
I love that. And then as they're going through this process, and they're the transformation and the confidence building and the worthiness and all of that stuff, they're starting to, so they start here and they're starting to move closer and closer. And before you know it, they merge as one. Woo, goosebumps. I love that.
Yes. And I heard recently, Lady Gaga said that, because I saw her live at the AAA with Oprah in January. And she said, I've been doing this alter ego thing for 4 or 5 years now. And she said her alter ego, Lady Gaga, gave Stephanie permission to be Stephanie, because she was so insecure from being bullied as a child, and from all the things that she went through, and all the mental challenges, mental illness challenges that she has, that she said creating Lady Gaga, someone who can just be outrageous and just push the envelope and do things that Stephanie would never, ever do. Stephanie would never do those things. She said Lady Gaga eventually gave Stephanie permission to step out and be herself in a movie, step out and do things that she was too afraid of doing. So the alter ego, just to clear it up, it's not being fake or false or trying to be something that you're not. It's about looking at yourself as a superhero. It's like, what powers would you have? How would you be if you were the best version of yourself? How would that show up? What would that look like? How do people experience that? And let's build that character of you, the authentic you, but without stripping away all the fears and all the failures and all those things that hold you back. If there was nothing holding you back, what would that look like? And then you start building that layer by layer by layer. And then you are allowed, you have to give yourself permission to step into that. What does it look like? So it's a complete sensory experience, because you have to visualize it. You have to, how do they speak? How do they, interact with people? What does that look like? And then step into it so you can become that in a moment's notice. So my alter ego I used when I had to go on stage, because I was petrified of standing in front of people and talking. I seemed I was okay, but I knew my knees would shake, my voice would tremble, my heart would race, I want to run out of the room, But the beauty queen was poised and graceful and funny and elegant and all the things that I didn't see myself actually being, because I was shaky and I was nervous and all those things. I didn't see that. Like, I couldn't put myself into that. But once I created that, put on my red lipstick, step into that, it was game on.
Right. What's interesting as you were talking about that, it made me think, if you go a little bit deeper, your alter ego is ultimately really you, just without all the negative limiting beliefs, all the lack of confidence, the worthiness issues and all of that stuff. It's still you. Like if you were just born and you took just all the love and happiness and joy, and then you're, 45 years old.
Yeah. Let me with that, because a lot of people think Superman is Clark Kent's alter ego, but Clark Kent is Superman's alter ego. He was born Superman.
Right. Woo, chills. Yeah.
And Clark Kent became his acceptable persona for society. So Clark Kent became the person that everyone would look to as normal. So if you feel like in yourself, okay, I have to be normal to fit in, I have to act a certain way or be a certain way, then give your alter ego permission to not be normal.
Right.
Give your alter ego permission to be outrageous, to be audacious, you know. And it may not even have to be outrageous. So let me just put this in perspective for everyone. It doesn't necessarily have to be outrageous. It could be as simple as you need to speak to a group of people and you're nervous about speaking to them. And it could be just as simple as I put on a pair of glasses and I feel smarter in front of people. You know, I feel like they'll listen to me because I look like I'm intelligent about something, you know. It could be as simple as that, just wearing a pair of glasses or taking off a pair of glasses, or, you know, just finding that token, finding something that you can now relate to being more powerful than you think you are. Because it's all, again, it's all a concept, it's all a thought. Yeah. So if you can create something that's more powerful than you think you currently are, the more you step into that, like you said, that gap starts closing. And then you realize, wait a minute, I am that person.
Yeah.
I am more powerful than I think I am.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. And, you know, I know a lot of women, as long as they have their lipstick, they're golden.
They're good to go. Yeah. I was doing an interview one day and I had on neutral lipstick and I put on the lights and everything. And I got on camera and I'm like, nope, this is not working. When I got my red lipstick, and everybody laughed and they said, it really does change you.
See, and it's just those little tiny tweaks that you can implement into your life to start building those confidence pieces inside of you. Absolutely. Changing that mindset.
It's just a little thing to make that shift. And that's why the alter ego can be so powerful for you, because it gives you permission to step into this alternative reality and that's why acting is so powerful. You know, it gives you permission to step into this alternate reality of yourself and really experience what that's like and enjoy it.
Yeah.
There's a football player, Marshawn Lynch. I don't know if anybody knows football, but he has an alter ego too, and his alter ego is beast mode, because he doesn't like attention. He doesn't like the media and all this. But when he gets on the field and he steps into beast mode, you can't talk to him. You can't. He is just like all business, and he is going to crush you on the field. Right? He's like, he just has one focus and one goal, nothing else. And so it could be just for that one thing. You have your alter ego just to accomplish one thing. And once you step into that, you accomplish that one thing, and then you can lay it aside and be, you know, all loosey-goosey and relaxed again. So you can use this tool for a bunch of different things.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you're changing the thought and mindset around audacious confidence.
Thank you.
That's
what my show is too. It's the Audacious Confidence Show. So you know what you get. It's confidence. It's all aspects of confidence. If your teeth are crooked. I know I broke my tooth when I was 6 years old. I fell and I broke my tooth. And a broken tooth lowers your confidence because you're afraid to smile. You don't want to smile. And with a broken smile, you cannot possibly be as confident as you want to be. Something as simple as a smile, you know, not being able to smile can change a person. So sometimes I have dentists, I've interviewed dentists on my show to talk about how a smile can change someone's life. You know, there's so many aspects of confidence that we're not even aware of all the time until someone brings it to our attention. And then you're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. I could do with a tweak here and a tweak there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could sit anybody down, they're going to give you a laundry list of things that they think is wrong with them, which I find really fascinating. And I do it myself. We all do it.
We've all done it.
But we just,
your inside your head is a bad neighborhood. Get out.
yeah, we are our own worst enemy. That's for sure.
I'll credit that to Noah Crane. She is brilliant. She said, yeah, inside your head is a bad neighborhood.
It definitely is, because that's the one thing that we have to battle constantly every single day from the moment we wake up until we go to bed. And depending on how you are at dreaming, you might carry it into there too.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
It's something that affects you every day. And again, it goes back to those peeling back the layers, and it's always going to be a new layer that you have to find and peel.
Exactly. And especially when you're on a growth trajectory of your life, when you're really stepping into what's possible. Well, what's the next thing I can conquer? What's the next thing? Well, they say another level, another devil. The next level you go, there are things that you're going to have to overcome. And just like, I'll go back again to the pageant. I had never done a pageant before. I'd not even done little itty bitty pageants. I had never done any kind of pageant before. And so even getting into the mindset of what that is and what is required for that, it was a process to build my confidence up to be able to go to California and do this. It was, so you also have to give yourself, I tell my kids all the time, you have to give yourself permission to fail. You have to give yourself permission to suck at some things.
Yeah.
My daughter, she's 17 now, but when she was, I think, 8 or 9, and I did a presentation. I love doing career days at school. So when I did career day at her class, and she said, "Mom, the first step to success is to suck." And I'm like, "Yes, it is, honey." She's like, because if you're not good at something, so many times people just quit.
Yeah.
And I stopped them from quitting just because the first time they weren't good at it. Because some of my children are very, they think they need to be perfect the first time out that they do something,
It doesn't quite work that way.
It doesn't work that way. So you have a learning
forward.
There's a learning curve. You have to learn things. And when you learn it and you grow in it, then you'll start seeing success. And I've seen it happen, over and over with them. And now they give themselves permission. If they're not good, then they practice and they do things and they do things. And practice is, again, one of those steps. You have to practice something over and over again and until you get really good at it. So, and
you're always in practice. It's never a perfection.
There's never perfection in it. No, never.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm just saying, so give yourself that permission to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I found very interesting in going through yoga is they always use the analogy of a doctor. A doctor doesn't have a perfection, they have a practice.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, what? That would be perfect. But but we don't think of it like that. They don't call, oh, this is, Dr. So-and-so, this is my perfection.
Yes.
No, literally, your life is a practice. It's a muscle. Confidence is a muscle. You constantly have to work it.
Absolutely. And I am constantly working this 7 steps muscle all the time, because I feel like it's probably what has helped me to grow even further, is to really be able to look at those things in my life all the time. And I can give you the 7 steps if you want them.
Yes, definitely.
So step 1 is to know yourself and love yourself. And so many times we don't take the time to know who we are, know ourselves. And then, like I said, practice and preparation. Preparation helps you, builds your confidence. If you're a speaker and you want to speak somewhere, maybe you have a natural gift of gab, but sometimes you need to practice certain techniques and certain things to get the buy-in from people. So preparation and practice is the second step. The third step is you have to know your passion and your purpose. If you step into your passion, it doesn't matter how fearful you are. When you're working in your passion and your purpose, you will overcome a lot of fear. Trust me. When you're in your passion and your purpose, you overcome a lot of fear. Yeah. So where am I? Am I on 3 or 4? That was passion, purpose. So 4 is know your tags. So what are your tags? Your tags are your talents, your assets, your gifts, and your skills. That's part of knowing yourself too. If you understand what your talents are, what your assets are, what your gifts are, and what your skills are, then you can use those things. You can be confident in who you are and what you have to offer. You know, you can step into a situation and say, pull this talent from here and pull this gift from here and say, yeah, look, I can do this. The 5th one is resistance. What are you resisting? Mm-hmm. What is stopping you from moving forward? You need to be able to isolate those resistances when you feel it, and you feel it in your body. You feel the fear, you feel the things that you're resisting. 6 is, of course, your alter ego. Developing an alter ego for yourself will help you build more confidence until you can step out on your own. And then 7 is learn to say yes to the things you typically say no to, and learn to say no to things that do not serve your purpose or do not fulfill you, or you are only doing it to people please. If you learn to say no to people and situations that do not serve you, you will be so much more confident in yourself.
I love that one. I always tell people, you don't know your yes until you know your no.
That's great.
Because we're always, especially women, we're innately going to be people pleasing. And yes, I can do this. Yes, I can do that.
We like to take care of people and nurture people. And sometimes people take advantage of that. And it becomes, you start doing it to your own detriment.
Yep, we sure do. Well, I have absolutely loved having you on this for my inaugural show. It's so exciting. Share with us where everybody can find you and contact you and get to know you even more.
You can go to alicia360.com. That's ALICIA 360.com. And on that site, that's all my social media. So you can connect with me on social media there. You can also, if you go to the contact, you can download my info. You can download my phone number, my email address, all of that great stuff. You can WhatsApp me, text me. On that site, everything is listed on that site. And you can even check out my websites also from alicia360.com.
That's awesome. I love it. And you are the audacious confidence expert.
Yeah, audacious confidence growth expert. I will help you grow your own audacious confidence so you can step boldly into what's possible for you and live the dreams you never even thought were possible.
I love it. That is awesome. Awesome. Read us one more time your definition for audacious confidence.
Audacious confidence. Oh, audacious confidence is the unshakable belief in yourself that's so brave and so bold that you dare to step into what's possible for you despite your feelings or fears, to go boldly in the direction of your dreams and live the life you only imagined.
I love it. You are just sensational. Yay! This has been a lot of fun. I really, really love your message, and you're such an inspiration for so many people, because it's amazing to think that you went from this little girl who felt like she wasn't smart, wasn't beautiful, to having this incredible business teaching people audacious confidence. And then you went and won a pageant. I mean, and you won. And that transformation for yourself is such an incredible, beautiful example of what you can do and be when you really just start believing in yourself and allowing for what is possible.
And can I just really you, in the pageant, I had a full circle moment, because remember I said I used to hide from the cameras and I used to hide from taking pictures. I won the Miss Photogenic award for the best photogenic picture. I looked at it, it was mind blowing.
That's amazing.
From cameras.
That is so incredible. I love it. Well, thank you again for being here with me. I just think you're amazing and such an inspiration. And this episode was sponsored by my company, Aphrodite Enterprises, Inc. So thank you, everyone. Bye.